What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be looking at Insurgency Sandstorm yet again. I've been playing this game a lot the last 4 or 5 days, really getting into it. This ISMC mod has definitely changed it for me compared to the last time I played. I went into a vanilla lobby the other day with some buddies, and it is nothing compared to running ISMC. I've been jumping into some really cool ISMC modded custom servers with customized maps and customized bot counts. And let me tell you, it is brutal, it is chaotic, it is not easy. I mean, somebody who's probably got, dumped at least a couple hundred hours in the game could probably laugh at that and say, well, you gotta find the right positions and, gotta run the right guns, etc. But I'm telling you right now, just running my basic setups, going through some of these maps, even with a full group, there are so many bots. It is difficult to get a place of fire to hold something down. You're always worried about insurgents coming in from the left and the right. You're not sure what your teammates are covering. You don't know if someone's going to come up behind you. I think that's a big thing too, is that there are a decent amount of people that join these servers and they don't really use communication. And I haven't been using too much communication myself because I'm not sure how friendly they are, even though the servers do say they are tactical servers and no rushing and stuff like that. However, most of my experiences so far have been the people who do use communications are obnoxious, and they're talking about different stuff during the match, talking about things that are not related to the actual game that's going on, or they're trolling on voice comms, they're saying funny shit to try to get a laugh out of people. And obviously that's not the type of gameplay that I'm really trying to get, especially when it comes to capturing good gameplay footage and immersion and stuff like that as well. It would be really cool to get a group of people that follow the channel, or just a group of people in general that like that tactical play, and we can get together and pump out some of these maps together as a team with some good solid immersive comms, ridiculous communications going on that are not necessarily needed, but some people like to play that way, and I completely get that. That's fine. You want to play a certain way, you play how you want to play. I'm not gonna bash you for it. But as far as content goes, and what I'm trying to aim for as far as immersiveness and stuff like that, I know I kind of overused that word, but I would like to try to find a group that would maybe be a little bit more on the tactical side of using communications and trying to work together and holding down certain spots. So without that being said, it is a lot of fun just trying to get in there, even though it's chaotic and you're worrying about like who's watching what. After a while you do get used to it, especially when you do the same map over and over. I had one map that I did, and I don't think it was a custom map. I think it's one of the vanilla ones. Again, I haven't played Sandstorm in years, so I don't know really what's a custom and what's not a custom, especially when you're playing on these ISMC modded servers. But we did a map like 4 or 5 times, maybe even more. We were on the map for like an hour, and we finally did it, and it was an amazing feeling to be able to get through it. But we kept getting stuck on the defending phase, because when you go and you grab a point, you have to sit there and defend the waves of insurgents before you're able to move on. And what kept happening is there's so many bots in these custom servers that we would just get completely overwhelmed, or most of the people on the points would get gunned down or blown up, and then the people that were surrounding the area on the high ground or maybe watching a flank didn't know that those guys were down, and there wasn't any guys on the point, so we would lose the game that way. Either way, I'm curious to what you guys think about the ISMC mod and your overall opinions with Sandstorm. I've heard from a lot of my returning viewers that they're not too much of a fan of the game, partly because the developer's not really caring too much about bringing in custom private lobbies. Listen servers, I guess, for your friends, and I would like to see private lobbies like that. I know not too many people want to go above and beyond and create a dedicated server on their PC running in the background, or maybe you don't have the resources or the right PC to do that. You don't have the specifications, and I don't really want to go out of my way to rent a server. Especially, the game is good, but I don't think it's good enough for me to spend money on running a server and learning how to set it up with the proper modifications, etc. Just to be able to do that with a private group Now, maybe if I had a decent amount of people from the community, like 10 of us, and everybody wanted to, you know, put their money together to maybe get a server up, or maybe somebody wanted to do a donation, and I could put a server up and figure out how to put the mods, I would love to do that. It would be really cool to have like a community server for Insurgency. I just don't know how long it would last. I also don't know how long I'm going to be into this game. You got to remember, there's a lot of games that I play. There's a lot of games on my list that I want to check out, and the tactical genre has such a wide array of games that need to be on my list to watch out for. And there's quite a few of them that I haven't tried yet either. But with that being said though, I wouldn't mind having a server out there for everybody to jump in and play on, have some immersive tactical comms for a video or two. I think that could be really cool. I do have a Discord, by the way. If anybody would be interested in jumping in, maybe throw out a couple messages at me on Discord, and maybe we can do some games, get a small group together, a decent group together, and try to run through some of these. That would be so fun. And not to bash on any of the people that I have been playing with. I'm sure after a while the whole immersive communications and trying to be super tactical isn't, you know, the right way to do it in public games. I know you're not always going to be able to do that, so it's kind of useless to sit there and try to expect people to have tactical communications, and I'm overusing tactical, but I guess what I'm trying to say is it is a public lobby regardless of the fact that or a public server regardless of whether or not it's an ISMC and it's supposed to be tactical, etc, etc. My biggest thing so far just getting into this game these last 4 or 5 days is ISMC mod does try to make it so that you slow down, because there are a lot of bots. The movement isn't the same as vanilla, at least it doesn't really feel that way. But from what it seems like is a lot of people do play it like it's Call of Duty. We see them running around and sprinting around corners. You see people trying to do crazy shit that just wouldn't necessarily work. I'm the type of person, like I've been stating throughout the whole video, I do like to see that slower gameplay. I think it looks really good as far as content goes, and when I'm watching people running around everywhere playing it like it's a Call of Duty game, it does kind of ruin that immersive side to it. And I hate to, you know, reuse the same words over and over again. However, with that aside, and it not being as slow paced as I would like it to be, it's definitely one of those games where I can sit down and play for an hour and actually feel like I had fun, and I didn't, you know, I'm not sitting there feeling like I didn't accomplish much, right? Like, obviously, it's difficult to win a game. I'm not always going to get in there and find a group that's able to win in some of the scenarios and some of the maps. There was definitely, out of most of the games I've played, I'd say a little under half of them I actually won. A lot of these were failed attempts. I remember even some of the maps I would get in and it would be like a custom map, and I would just continuously die over and over, and I'd end up leaving and trying another server. Regardless of all that, putting all that aside though, what makes this really unique to me is that you're actually able to sit down and create the weapon of your choice with all of the attachments of your choice. I can actually create a weapon that I know is going to be practical for my personal use. Actually being able to figure out how to use the point shooting. Now obviously I don't think it's as concrete as like Ready or Not, for example. I hate having to hit my key 3 times to go from my scope, or sorry, my optic, to point shooting, and then it does like this weird thing where it toggles on and off the tac light. I don't know if that's just a thing because of ISMC and you've got the laser and the tac light, so you're able to toggle the tac light and the laser separately, and that's why there's like a third click there. But it does make firefights have that null moment, that void moment where you're like, oh, well, now I need to transition to point shooting, but I have to hit the button 3 times before I'm able to accurately fire and down and eliminate the threat. But I'm getting used to it, and I think the more I play, the more I start to get fluid with the movements, and I'm actually starting to feel some more skill building up there when it comes to being able to do crazy stuff, like flick to point shooting and then back to the scope for a longer range, and then vice versa. And that kind of leads me to something that bothers me, is being able to fire from I want to say point shooting, but it wouldn't be point shooting because that's not what it's called in ISMC or in the game. Sorry, because it is a game feature. But being able to fire from the hip is extremely not worth it from what I've been able to tell just playing. there's a ridiculous amount of recoil, which I don't really think it should be that way, just because you're firing without, you know, aiming in or point shooting, etc. I don't think you're, you know, you should have a, how do I say, like a big debuff or a big disadvantage. Fully automatic or even semi-automatic is just extremely, it's not only like there's a lot of recoil, but it's extremely inaccurate as well. So not only do you have that heavy recoil, but it's so inaccurate to the point to where, you know, just firing at somebody who's more than 5 meters in front of you is going to make you regret making that choice of not ADSing. And I'm not too much of a fan of that, and I know that's just how Insurgency was made, and I'm sure there's people who are like, well, you just got to get used to it. It's not like other games, and I completely get that. I don't want you guys to think this is like a ranting and raving about Insurgency Sandstorm in general or ISMC mod. I think what the developers with ISMC, they're doing great. I wish people would kind of understand where I'm coming from when it comes to this game, and I know people may not agree with what the developers are doing, not bringing in private servers and stuff like that, and kind of depending, and we're kind of depending on dedicated servers to be able to play with our friends. But with that aside, I think it's a great game to just jump back into and try out the ISMC mod. I don't even care about vanilla. Like, if you're gonna come back into this game, I wouldn't even bother with vanilla. I'd come back in, I'd join a custom ISMC modded server, I'd check out some of these custom maps and have your friends join and just have a good time. I don't even think you'd want to waste your time trying to set up a server. Now, like I said before, if people wanted to donate and we could bring up like an Insurgency ISMC server, I think that would be cool. I'd like to do that. But as far as just the average consumer trying to get into a game, you're not even worth going to that trouble. Just join a modded server. It'll take you a little bit to download all the custom maps, etc. I'm definitely having a lot of fun, and I'm glad that I decided to reinstall Insurgency Sandstorm just to get this ISMC mod, just to try it out. And I definitely think it's worth it. I'm having a lot of fun. I think it's an amazing mod. The bots, it's absolutely chaotic, and I don't know if I like it being that chaotic because there's so many bots everywhere, but I'm sure to somebody who's played the game a lot, you'd probably sit there and think, well, if there's not this many bots, it would be too easy. So I guess it would make sense from that standpoint, but I think I'm still kind of getting used to it. It gets a little obnoxious when I have to focus on multiple angles of fire, you know, when I'm not sure if somebody's watching one side or the other. I think I'm repeating myself at this point, but I think it's a lot of fun. You guys need to definitely check it out. Even with this new update with Insurgency Sandstorm, I haven't found any servers that have the ISMC mod for the prison. I tried out the vanilla version. I got into a game with my friends and it was all right. You got to run around and like grab weapons out of crates after you capture points, etc., like that, and you only start out with a pistol. You're a survivor, I guess, escaping the prison, and I wasn't exactly sure, like, that's how they have it, I guess, for vanilla. Because when I first tried out the prison, I was running the ISMC mod locally hosted to try it out. So either way, I think I've done enough talking for one video. I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. I hope you guys decide to reinstall Insurgency. Maybe you want to get a couple of games in, join the Discord. Definitely try out ISMC mod. That is the only reason why I reinstalled Sandstorm. But either way, that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for sticking to the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
That was